If I could change the world, I'd make it. If you didn't say Halloween here, I don't think this is a video for you. Oh my god, hello! So, I've moved. A new chapter. A blank slate, some might say. So yeah, I'm still trying to like figure out the light and the setting and hold on one second. Ooh. Stay. That's kind of okay. Oh, it really threw off the light, didn't it? This seems to be okay. It's quite close up. Anyway, so it's nearly the end of October, and that can only mean one thing. It's Halloween time! I think the tape is already releasing. If my landlord ever sees this, I probably will lose a bit of my— No! How? No, baby girl. More tape. Okay, anyway, what I was saying, in London, you're not allowed to put anything on your walls because then landlords get crazy and like take half of your deposit, including fucking sellotape. Yes, because supposedly it damages the wall. Welcome to London. Anyway, to celebrate my love for musicals and Halloween, today we will be ranking Halloween musicals. Now you're gonna have to go with me a little bit because there's not that many scary musicals, but you know, there's quite a few that we can somewhat put under the bracket of Halloween. But like any good ranking video, let me start by first explaining to you the categories. From the top to the bottom, the first category— I look dead. This light really, isn't it? Well, it is a Halloween video, so perhaps a little living dead look is kind of on point. Our first category is The Sound of Music. Now, the musicals I'm gonna put in this category are the musicals that frankly should not exist. Mostly this will be musical adaptations of famous films and stories that are just not done well. Like, they're basically just a cash grab, and therefore they kind of sound like shit. Hence why The Sound of Music. The category above that is Average Q. You get it? Like Avenue Q, but then average Q. I've just moved, okay? I'm very tired. And no! More tape. Let's pray to the sellotape gods that this works. By the way, let me just preface that the musicals I'm using to make these puns are no reflection of the actual like quality of the musical. As in, like, obviously I'm using Avenue Q to make the very funny joke Average Q, but that doesn't mean that I think Avenue Q is an average musical. I think it's very funny. It's just because I couldn't find any other puns, you know. Don't take it too literal is basically what I'm saying. Alright, where was I? So yeah, Average Q, as the name says, these are the musicals that are like fine, like, okay, I see what you're trying here, but like, will I ever listen to the soundtrack again? No. Will I ever see the show again? Definitely not, unless like my nephew is playing an Amdram production in some local church. These are the musicals that are like, I see where you're going with this, but I don't think it works that well. Kind of like the name of the category, let's be honest. So really, nailed it. Our second best category is gonna be Slay Miserable. Do note the oxymoron because you have slay but then also miserable. I think I'm gonna put the musicals there that like at first value you're like, yes, this is amazing, this is so good. But then somewhere towards the end you're a bit like, I actually don't know if it hit that well. I don't know if you've completed your potential. And then our final category, our top tier category, is Oklahoma Okay, which at face value I can understand. Everyone is kind of like, okay, like, shouldn't the name of your top tier include like iconic or fabulous or something like that? But for Oklahoma Okay, it's all in the intonation, in the delivery, let's say. It's not just Oklahoma okay, it's Oklahoma okay. These are the ones that maybe surprise you, that you weren't 100% sure about, but then they really like pulled it out of the bag. Or, you know, it's just a top tier, so it's just ones that are iconic, fabulous, and all of the above. They all belong in Oklahoma okay. Now, like I said, some of these musicals maybe aren't like textbook Halloween musical, but like just go with me on this one, because otherwise, honestly, I only had like 3 musicals to discuss. So let's just have some fun and let's rank these babies and pray my green screen stays up. Okay, number 1, the one we're all thinking about straight away, Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street, that is. Anyone who knows me knows that like Sondheim is always a win in my books. Like the lyrics are just so clever, you know, I love a good pun, as you can tell by my extraordinary category names. But like in the clever, funny lyrics, there's always such a heartfelt message. So I absolutely love Sondheim. And therefore, I'm kind of tempted to like instantly put Sweeney Todd in the top tier. Oklahoma, okay. But actually, there's a distinction that we should make here. Sweeney Todd, the stage musical, that's definitely Oklahoma okay material. Sweeney Todd, the movie musical, I think that's more Les Miserables territory, you know? Simply because Johnny Depp is just not a Sweeney. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say he's not a Sweeney. It's definitely that thing of like the idea of a movie musical of Sweeney Todd is amazing. Like there's so much potential, but when you're gonna cast the wrong people as the leads, like it could have been better. So yeah, stage musical in Oklahoma, okay? Movie musical in Les Miserables. Next musical is Carrie, quite an iconic horror story, but also I'm a bit biased because it was my final show at drama school, so I do know it quite well. And even though when it first came out it was this epic flop, I do think it is quite a good musical, but only quite. I think the soundtrack is very hit and miss. Like the opening number is just so strong, like the whole like stop, go, who am I? Oh, so good. Or even like the all they do is chew my ass, blah 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 blah. Okay, Spring Awakening. Yeah, it is honestly a very strong opening number. But then I think some of the other songs are just a bit too much. Like I swear the mom has like 3 or 4 songs with Carrie, and I was like, did we really need another song to show how toxic this relationship is? Was the mom Starcast or something? Like, did she have it put in her contract that she should have at least 4 songs? So I think given all that, it's a Les Miserables. Starts off strong, but doesn't really pull it through to the end to make it to Oklahoma okay. Next one, Rocky Horror Picture Show. I mean, guys, do I have to speak about this? Like, I think we can all agree straight away, Oklahoma, okay. Like, it's just such an iconic piece of musical theater. Like, it was groundbreaking. To this day, people show up in costumes, and it's just such a fun show. Yeah, perhaps some of it feels slightly dated now, but like, I don't even care. It's camp, it's fun, it's a critique. If you have issues with it, I don't know, well, perhaps there needs to be some self-reflection done there. And in that same breath, we have to talk about Little Shop of Horrors, another amazing classic from the 80s. The 80s really had it going, didn't they? I think Little Shop of Horrors really knows how to strike that balance between quirky and dark. And the fact that the soundtrack is so strong is honestly such a bonus point as well. So I guess this one also goes into Oklahoma, okay. Don't you worry, I'm not gonna put everything in Oklahoma, okay. Believe me, there's some crap to come. Next up, we have Wicked, which I guess is not really a scary musical, but it is about a witch. I just want to talk about Wicked, let me. So you know how I was saying that any Sondheim show just kind of is a winner for me? Stephen Schwartz shows are in the same category. I admire Schwartz so much because even though sometimes his lyrics might be a bit too cheesy, it always works within the show. I think he just really knows how to nail the tone of the show so nothing feels out of place. Now, do I put Wicked in Oklahoma okay or in Les Miserables? I know, some people might be a bit like, what are you talking about? This is so clear. But I have to say, the end of Wicked is not amazing. Like, I've never really been a fan of the fact that she just casually shows up out of the stage like, I was hiding, that wasn't real. And then she runs off to be with Fiyero, which, like, is anyone shipping Elphaba and Fiyero? Because I'm not. So guys, I think this is actually more of a Les Miserables. Come on, fight me in the comments. Give me the engagement. Next one is not a stage musical. Well, actually, perhaps it is, but not, for as far as I know, it's only a movie musical, but it really should be a stage musical. And that is The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's just really great, isn't it? I think the fact that it is stop motion and things take very long to make really allowed for the creative to just put a joke in almost every movement. And it's just like you can feel the love that went into this. And it's a really comforting film. Like if you ever have an insomnia attack, just put that on. I swear you'll fall asleep. Oklahoma, okay. Staying within the Tim Burton world, we're gonna talk about Beetlejuice next. I unfortunately have never seen Beetlejuice the musical live because it's not had a West End transfer yet. But I've seen a couple of slime tutorials and I am a big fan of the musical. But as I discussed in my previous video, I think the end might not be a home run. I think they got a bit confused trying to make the character of Beetlejuice a bit too likable, but then still not really wanting to give him a happy ending because, you know, he's quote unquote the antagonist. So his ending ends up being not very satisfying at all because he just leaves. So even though I really like that the writers made it their own thing, I'm gonna have to put it in Les Miserables. Phantom of the Opera. Yeah, you're not gonna like me, but I do not like Phantom of the Opera, man. Annoyingly, whenever you say Phantom of the Opera is, you know, classic book misogynistic and just honestly boring, like nothing happens, there's always someone to be like, you have to put it in its historical context. And I get that, but also like, what is the message precisely here? Abducting women will make them fall in love with you. Beautiful, talented young women love incels. Yeah, I don't know, mate. And you know, credit where credit's due. Like the opening is absolutely iconic. You know, the bum 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 bum. So iconic that they end up using it in every other song. But also apparently that tune is stolen. So can I really give points for plagiarism? Okay. Right, you know what? Can I put it in The Sound of Puzik? It is iconic in its own right, so I'm just gonna put it in average Q, okay? It's all about compromise here, okay? Following up on that, we have the sequel of Phantom of the Opera, aka Love Never Dies. And even the fans of the Phantom of the Opera, you know, the Phantom fans, even they agree that Love Never Dies is crap. So let's not waste any more time on this. Love Never Dies is definitely The Sound of Puzik. Be More Chill has a Halloween song. Okay, well, so does Mean Girls, but that still doesn't really make them Halloween musicals, I would say. Because by that logic, we would have to include every musical that has a nightmare sequence as well, which, oh my god, there are so many. So, like, I'm sorry, no, Be More Chill, you are not going to be ranked. Next up, another classic Halloween musical, The Addams Family. Growing up, I used to love the Addams Family movie. Like, I don't know how many times I would have seen it. And I think perhaps that's why I've not seen the musical yet. I've not heard great things and I just don't want it to ruin it, okay? So yeah, obviously I'm not going to put it in any of the categories because I've not seen it. But I thought I'll mention why I'm not putting it in one of the categories because otherwise all my comments will be like, what about the Addams Family? Actually, perhaps that would have been the perfect rage bait. Ooh, next up on the list is quite a rogue one. Dancer in the Dark. I remember watching this film in school and like a girl in my class fainted. Like this movie is intense, mate. Oh my god. Björk is so phenomenal though. Honestly, what a performance. Yet again, could this movie musical work as a stage musical? I think Dancer in the Dark is honestly a great example of a piece of art that just is its own thing. I've not seen it in quite a while though, so I wonder if I can just go ahead and put it in Oklahoma okay. Well, I kind of have to, right? Because if I would put it in Les Miserables, I would be saying that it's great, but just like ever so slightly off. And I cannot remember anything that I thought was off. Like it's a lot, but that's the point. So let's put it in Oklahoma okay. Next up, Heathers. Yeah, I agree. It's not really a Halloween musical, but it was on this list that I found on the internet. And I was like, it is about very intense themes, you know, so perhaps it's quite Halloweeny. And also a very easy Halloween costume. I really like Heathers, I have to say. I think it's a very strong soundtrack. It's a great satirical take on very serious, dark themes. But I'm afraid that its dedicated fan base is kind of like a negative point. The first time I watched Heathers was the West End version starring Carrie Hope Fletcher as Veronica. And you have to understand that I had not seen the movie before. I had no clue what this was about. So when Veronica comes out and sings like Dear Diary or whatever, and basically just sets up the whole show, for the first like 5 to 10 minutes, the crowd was just like, wah! Like going wild. I didn't understand a word that she was saying. So I completely missed the setup of the story. And besides that, I do feel that there are a few story beats that just don't really land in the musical version. So I'm gonna put it in Les Miserables. I think there was a lot of potential there. And I think a lot of it was fulfilled, but just that like tiny bit more. I don't feel like, yeah, it's literally like touching Oklahoma, okay, but just not. I'm gonna get a lot of hate. I'm gonna get so much hate on this video, oh my god. Young Frankenstein. Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of Mel Brooks's humor, I think. Like, I feel like it's just so like in your face. It just completely lacks nuance for it to actually be funny and satirical. There are a few songs in the soundtrack that are quite fun, but honestly, I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough to save it. And also, you know, for the sake of this video, I'm gonna have to put a few in The Sound of Puzik. So, Young Frankenstein, I'm sorry, but I have deemed you a Puzical. Hadestown. Oh, all right, yet again, not textbook Halloween, but it does talk about Hades, you know, the devil. And I'll say nothing is scarier than capitalism. I saw it on Broadway right before the pandemic, absolutely loved it. And I just saw the West End version last week, and it's so inspiring. It's so good. It's so like, it fills me with joy because I'm like, oh my God, musicals aren't dead. Like, some people actually are still developing the genre, pushing it forward, and like, it's magic. I want to go see it again. Anyone wants to come see Hadestown with me in the West End again? You know it. I'm definitely putting this in Oklahoma, okay? Can you hear this? Are they coming to deport me? Okay, so we have quite a few vampire musicals like Dracula or Lestat, but I've not seen any of these two, so I'm not gonna include them. One of the vampire musicals that I have seen, though, is The Dance of the Vampires. This show is so successful in Germany, like, it's crazy how long it's already been playing there, but like, I don't get it. Yeah, it's camp and has quite a few nice songs, but in essence, it's just really the same issue that I have with Phantom of the Opera, aka, what is the message? And it's not that deep. All right, for you, it's not that deep. Can I take a wild guess and say that you are a male? Probably white. A vampire musical just sounds like an absolute home run, but like, I don't think this one is. But I also don't think that I can put it in Sound of Puzik, if I'm honest. So let's put it in an average queue. Another one from Europe, Rebecca. I think this is a good musical, you know. And I think I'm being incredibly biased again because I've played it before. I remember trying to read the book as research though, and like absolutely hating it because it was just pages upon pages of description of the flower garden. So I promptly returned it to the library and said to my director that I had read it. That's not very professional, but I was still in school, okay? Cats? Huh. Is Cats a scary musical? Is this someone who's scared of pussy? Perhaps the person who wrote this list is allergic to cat hair. Badumch. Ghost. Okay, well, I guess so, right? Like, I mean, it does talk about a ghost, you know, a very typical Halloween costume. Oh, man. I would love to do a comparison between the movie and the musical. It's been a while that I've seen it though, so I'm struggling to think in which category I want to place it. I'm doubting between Les Miserables and Average Q, because I think my perception is being skewed a bit by my love for the song With You. I'm gonna put it in Les Miserables. For now. And our final one on the list, a very recent hot topic, Joker 2 Folie à Deux. Just like basically every other YouTuber, I did not like the Joker sequel at all. I don't think it has any business trying to be a musical. I think it's even funny that the creators are now like, oh no, we wouldn't classify it as a musical, which thank fuck, because honestly, the musical community does not want to be associated with this crap. So we're ending on a very strong Sound of Puzik. And that's it. This is my ranking of all the Halloween musicals that I could find. Let me know which musicals I've missed. Let me know if perhaps you would have put certain musicals in other categories and why. Also, like, what are you guys dressing up as? This video is obviously very different from what I usually do. Like, usually I do a lot of research and I write a whole script, but like, have I mentioned that I just moved? I don't have time, okay? So yeah, I thought I would just improvise a little bit and, you know, we'll see whether or not this works as well. My history with improv is actually quite horrendous because I had it in drama school and I just could not stop laughing. Like, I would always corpse. Not necessarily because my scene partners were hilarious. I think it was more me not being able to cope with the nerves. As a child, actually, I would sometimes laugh that hard that I would pee myself. Hi, I'm Anne. Nice to meet you. I hope you guys have fun plans for Halloween, and I will be back in 2 weeks with another musical theater video essay. Bye!